It's not balanced. So 1, 3, 2. So how many moles are on the right? Sorry, the left. 4 moles are on the left, and 2 moles are on the right. So it will shift to its direction. It will shift to the right. Everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay. So for B. All right, what happens to the concentration of N2 if the temperature is decreased? All right, so what's the rule if we decrease temperature? All right, it goes to the side. Temperature is decreased. It goes to the warmer side. All right, so the warmer side is the one that has the number on it, right? So where's the number? Okay, so it's going to shift to which way? It's got to go to the right, right? So this was the part some of us were struggling with yesterday. If it shifts to the right, what happens on the right? What happens on the left? So
why would it shift to the side that's warmer?
Because the temperature went down. It's got to, if you're in a system, it's at equilibrium. You're trying to get back to equilibrium. So if the temperature goes down, the equation or the reaction is trying to bring its temperature back up. So it goes to the warmer side to try to raise that temperature back up.
And what if it was on the other side?
Then it would go that direction.
Okay.
Okay? So N2 is where, if we have N2 plus H2 goes to NH3 is our reaction. What would happen to N2? It would decrease. All right, number 3. Let me see if I can make this a little better for people at the back. Is that better, Caleb?
Yes.
All right, so if we have the equation H2 plus I2 goes to HI, and then that number, we need to put a 2 there to balance it. All right, what happens to HI if H2 is increased? What did we say about concentration? If we add something, what does it do? Goes to the same side or opposite side?
Opposite.
Opposite. Okay, so H2 is here. So the opposite side would be the what? Go to the product side, or it's going to shift to the right. I'll just draw an arrow. So it's going to shift to the right. So it's going to shift to the right. All right. Anytime we shift to the right, what happens on this side? What happens on this side? All right. And I asked about what? I asked, what happens to HI? All right. So what happens to HI? It increases. All right. So letter B. What happens to I2 if temperature is decreased? So if I lower the temperature, it goes to what? Warmer side. All right. So what side is the number on? The product side. So it goes to the right. So on the right will increase. Here will decrease. So H2 plus I2 will become HI. So what will happen to I2? It will decrease. Questions?
What are flickers? We've never done them. Thank you.
See you in a minute. All right, we good? All right, let's talk homework. Now, those of you who were out yesterday should have the homework if you were here the day before, because it's the back side of the same sheet. No, I'm not.
Why don't you ever check homework?
All right, so number 2, because the top line's done. Everybody got a paper? Is there anybody who's out? I need to give one too. Yeah. Anybody need one? Who needs that?
Said I need a nap.
Oh, a nap. Be forewarned, if you fall asleep, I will not wake you.
Oh, that's good.
The last child who fell asleep on me 4th period woke up at Were you here the day I did it? Londra was. I knew somebody was. Huh? No, I was just gonna watch.
He was just sitting there listening to music. And she was like, "Are you gonna go home?"
Oh, what time is it?
It's small.
What?
You're terrible.
What am I terrible about? He needed the rest. I wasn't going to disturb him. Clearly he was tired. I've done that before in my career. I closed the door, turned the lights off, went home. He wasn't here when I got here the next day. That's all I can tell you. I don't tell you home.
If someone did that to me, I'd be terrified. I thought I would think like an apocalypse happening, y'all left me. Because I wouldn't look at the time and
Y'all better hope your friends wake you up. I won't do it. Ask Walter. He woke up on his own.
Who was it?
They did. They left him.
That's terrible.
Well,
How do you sleep through the door and talking?
that's a very good question. Now, if we look at number 2, if you add H2, what's the rule? Okay? If you add something, what's the rule? Same side or opposite side? All right, so you got to know the rules of the opposite side. All right, so when you look at the equation, H2 is here, so the opposite side would be what?
The right
All right, so we're going to the right. So if we go to the right, what's going to happen to our concentration? We go to the right, this side will increase, this side will decrease, right? So what's going to happen to my N2? It's going to decrease. What's going to happen to my NH3? It's going to increase. What's going to happen to K? It's going to stay the same. Okay? If I add NH3, what's the rule? It's going to go to the opposite side. So NH3 is here. So what's the opposite side? It's going to go to the left. So if it goes to the left, what happens here? It will increase. What will happen here? It will decrease. So these are on the left this time. So what happens to N2? It increases. What happens to H2? It increases. What happens to K? It stays the same. What did we say yesterday is the only thing that makes K change? Temperature. All right, if we remove a reactant or product, what do we know? Stays on the same side. All right, so N2 is a what? It's a reactant, right? So if it stays on the same side, it has to go to that side, which is to the what? To the left. So if it goes to the left, it will do what here? And what will do here? So this will be, it will increase there, and it will do what here? And it will be, don't crack me up. It's always the chorus kids who are the most annoyed by chorus. All right. Remove hydrogen. It will stay on the same side. Hydrogen is on the left, so it goes to the left. If it goes left, increase there, decrease there. N is on the left, so it will increase. So decrease. Same. This time, if we remove this one, NH3 is on what side? So it will shift to the right. Okay, if it shifts to the right, this time it will increase on the right, decrease there. So this will be decrease, decrease, same. Now, for temperature, we got to look at the number. Okay, if we increase temperature, what happens? It'll move to the cooler side. All right, so the cooler side is the one without the number. So which one does not have the number? So it's going to the left. Okay, so no number is the one that's the cooler side. Okay, so if it goes left, that means that whatever's on the left will increase and whatever's on the right will decrease. So these two things are where? They're on the left, so they will do what? And this will decrease. K will change. Now, if you were in an AP class, you'd have to know what K will do based on whether it's an endo or exothermic reaction. You do not have to know that for mine. Now, if we decrease temperature, all right, if we decrease temperature, it goes to the warmer side, and this is the one with the number. Okay, so the side with the number is the one that's on the right. So if we go to the right, this side will decrease, that side will increase. So N will decrease, H will decrease, ammonia will increase. And again, temperature will change. Now, if we increase pressure, we go to the side of what? More moles or less moles? Less moles. So which side has less moles? The 4 or the 2? So we're going to the right. So we're going to decrease there, increase there. So we're going to have decrease, decrease, increase, and same. And of course, decreased pressure will go to the side of more moles. So it has to go left. And if it goes to the left, that means it will increase, it will decrease, increase, increase, decrease, same. And only changes with temperature. Questions?
Okay, I think I sort of know how to do it now, but I need more practice.
We're going to practice.
It sort of makes sense now. What's in your
Huh? Pepsi.
That's why you need water.
I know. No.
Do we get those little clicky things?
Here, cards.
She does seem to like whatever.
I would have sworn we did this before, but maybe not.
Yeah. Oh, that's the thing with the dot thing. I mean with the
Cards with squares.
Herman.
I haven't edited it. Could you stop?
A song about my feelings. I'm hungry and tired. Here you go.
Do not eat my lunch before I have to lock it up like I did fourth period. Those children have raided my lunch so many times it has to be locked up. What do I go through? 21? 23. Six, 28. We're going any higher than 28. Nadia, here's 27, and 28 is Cheyenne. Here's yours. Because I don't have tags on these, so they're harder to find. All right, the rest of you, yours are laid out with tags on them, so they're pretty easy to find.
No.
22.
I'll explain how it works if you don't know or don't remember in a minute.
I'm there.
It's not very hard to test.
It looks like you're
What? You will know when I put the answer up there, but nobody else will be able to tell.
All right, Kelsey 29. Well, I don't.
Hey guys, how are you?
Where's 20?
Box not up there.
You know, you get that thing in the thing.
Yeah, that's 3 and 6. That's it.
I'll go up.
Yeah, I don't have numbers on those. All right, does everybody have a card? Yeah.
I'm gonna look dumb whenever it's my answer. I should.
You're right.
You know what?
Are you here for
Whatever.
No. I don't care what they pay for summer school. I don't have any intention of doing it.
This one, we can see what you're doing.
I'm not getting that garbage.
They don't pay me enough money to work summer school.
I really don't care.
What do I
All right.
You
So
need a piece of paper.
you do not. You can use a piece of paper if you want.
do? Can you explain how
Now,
this works?
so there's a question on the board that has 4 answer choices. Now, the only thing about flickers is there's no ability to put in subscripts. So when it says H2, you have to envision this as a subscript, and then these are subscripts. I do not know why the program will not allow it, but it won't. So you have 4 answer choices, such that you might see on Quiz Monday. You have a card that has, let me just borrow yours. All right, if you look at it, it says A, B, C, and D. If you look at the answer and you're like, okay, the answer should be A. Find A and hold it so A is up. Okay? Then, when I think the vast majority of us have chosen an answer, I will wait so that I'm not scanning continuously. All right? Hold A up. If you think the answer is B, you hold it so B is up. If you think it's C, hold it so C is up. Okay? Whatever you think the answer is, it should point up. Okay? It's so that we don't have those clickers that need batteries. It works the same way, except I just scan with my cell phone.
Oh, that's so cool. Technology.
That's actually. Oh, wait a minute.
Okay?
This wall.
That's how they do for barcodes.
We're gonna fail.
I can't even read it.
Well, you got to be able to read the questions.
There's a wow.
That is insane.
I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Did you
Lydia
If your name is not here in blue, it means I have not scanned your card. Now, look at the way that, now ladies and gentlemen, if your finger is touching the black, it will not read it. Your fingers have to not touch the black so that the phone can get the barcode. Okay? Alright, so Herman and Alondra are not there. Now, alright, so we have somewhere in the ballpark of 56% of us got it right. Alright, so if K is 456, is that much greater than, much less than? It's much greater than. So what are we going to have lots of? Products or reactants? Products. The products are HI, so that's why there's more HI. You have more products. Okay? Okay? So you have an equation, and I'm asking if temperature is increased. Clearly, I need to go back and take out C and D on this one and edit, because there are only 2 answer choices.
I think so.
If you pick C and D, there's no answer there.
So then you can't get it off.
Yeah, you will get the answer wrong.
Okay, I don't know. I can't do this in that.
Oh my god, this
I will scan in a minute.
better than the ones at Walmart.
Say what?
Do me.
I said this scanner was so much better than the
Like, I'm not pretty sure it's not that far away.
Right.
Technology, man. I don't think we had terrible camera quality.
That's why you were putting us on Snap, huh?
No.
Bro, why is Herman still in this?
Because I haven't edited. All right, I'll take him out in a few minutes. All right, so we have a few people who wrong answer. We're about 70% right. So if you increase the temperature, what does it do? It moves to the colder side. The heat is the warmer side. So the heat is on the product side, so it goes to the colder side, which is the left, the reactants. All right. And I've used the same reaction many times. Okay?
Wait, someone's.
Okay. The guessing queen over there, try to figure it out, because you're going to see this on the quiz. These are the structure of the questions, which is why I didn't give the quiz today. Okay? Try to figure it out. So what's the rule? If we increase the concentration of the water, does it go the same side or the opposite side? At least you should be guessing. You weren't here. You were here.
I mean, I wrote the notes. That's right.
Why the rule? And those of you who were out yesterday,
She just posted a video.
yes, well,
It was
you should be able to do the quiz by Monday.
It was last month.
It wasn't there last night. I forgot to post it. I told you, Caleb distracted me.
No,
I know, I'm just going to beat you up to do that.
I didn't do it.
Maybe you should give me 10 points back on the line.
He said what he said, Miss Wall.
I know, he's convinced that I should not take a late grade because I had his notebook because he left it here.
Yes.
You're so cute.
That's pretty fair.
I'm pretty sure.
67% got it right. So if you increase, oh, I didn't show it. Alright. So if you increase water, if you add it, does it go to the same side or the opposite side? So that's a product, right? So what's the opposite side? The reactant. So it goes to the reactant side. So what happens to the oxygen if it goes towards the reactants? It will increase the reactants.
I still don't understand, but yes, I got it right.
If this, all right, we increase the, we change the color.
Oh, Lord.
Lord, Miss Wall.
All right. If we increase this, which is a product, right? So we're increasing our product. So if we add a product, it's got to go to the opposite side, which is over here. Goes left. So that means this side's going to increase. This side's going to decrease. Where's the oxygen in the reaction? So that means if oxygen's over here, it's going to do what? It's going to increase. Okay?
Why am I gonna look? He's like, with them dogs back out, I'm like. He just wanted to know.
All right. There's a pressure question.
Pressure thing. Oh my God. Okay.
I don't. 2, 4. We just gotta go.
Expression. Okay.
Wait for the last one to talk about
Can't relate.
It must be nice to have a mom. I'm having that like me.
All right.
You can.
All right.
Hey,
All right. So if pressure is increased, what happens? Fewer moles. So this side has how many moles? And this side has how many? All right. So from 5 to 3, so it goes towards the what? Towards the products. Okay. So from 5 to 3 means we're going towards the product. So it's going to shift to the right, decrease, increase. What side is the water on? It's on the product side, so it's going to increase. Okay?
What is that song called?
Did you say Jalissa?
All right, different equation this time.
The concentration of this
We're gonna do about 2 more, and then we're gonna stop.
Well, we can stop now.
All right.
I'm gonna do something called.
the concentration.
I don't really know.
Okay. Big thing. What's blue answer again?
Right, what do you?
Could you change your answer?
Yep, you can.
How do you know the change? Right, I don't know.
You held it up. Did you hold it up again? And it changed it when I scanned it.
This is not.
All right.
I'm gonna say it's a wall.
I think I held up the
Did
wrong
I get it
one.
right?
All right.
I was going to
Yeah, I held up the wrong
This one is not so hot. 44%. So if we look at the question, what's the rule? It stays on the same side. If concentration is decreased, it stays on the same side. What side is NO on? So it stays to the right. Okay? It shifts right. So that means this side will increase and this side will decrease. Okay? You got to get that far. If you can't do that, you're just saying eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
You're right.
Okay?
And that got me to answer right.
Well, that's good. Hopefully it'll work for you on Monday. All right, so what am I asking about? I'm asking about NO2 in this one. NO2 is here, so it has to do what? It has to decrease. That's why it's the second one.
Why would it increase on the right?
Because if I add anything, okay, if I said the concentration of NO is increased, so if I increase this, it goes to the opposite side. Anytime you add something, according to equilibrium, you're trying to get back to it. So if you add something, it has to be used up. So if you add a concentration of whatever you're adding, it has to go to the opposite side, okay, to use it up. But if you decrease it or take it out, you want to make more. So in this question, I said we decreased it. So since I decreased it, I need to make more of it. Well, where's NO at in the equation? On the product side. That's why it's going to shift right to the product. So you can increase whatever's on the product side.
Got it.
Okay?
Makes sense.
My headphones are ready.
All right. One more and then we're going to stop.
No.
I'm not to understand this.
All right. Last one.
If he's.
Yeah.
Think about what side it goes to. If heat is increased, we go to
means
the
you're
warmer or the
adding
colder
it.
side.
Which means you're adding it.
I'm adding heat. If heat is increased, I'm heating it up. I'm adding heat. And then once you know what side it goes to, think about who increases and who decreases.
Right.
Is this like this? Or it's just
Yep, it's not a grade, it's just a practice. You can see where you're at.
It's damn that just holding it like this. I didn't
I won't hit stop yet.
Hey, at least I got that far.
I'll tell you when I come back.
Okay,
She is annoying.
I'll come back to Joyce. She's not ready yet.
What about Caleb?
We're just
gonna go with what here.
What is it? Who's song?
No, because that one's like.
All right, 56% of us got it right. So if heat is increased, all right, it goes to the what? Colder side. All right, what is the colder side? Is the side with the number or without the number? Without. So it goes to the right. So if it goes to the right, whatever's on this side will increase. Whatever's on that side will decrease. So this will decrease. This will increase. And this will increase. So NO will increase. That's wrong. NO2 we just said will decrease. And O2 will increase. Okay? All right. If you will, bring your cards back up here and put them on the table. I've got one more little practice sheet I'll give you for homework for the weekend.
For the weekend.
For the weekend. Oh, sorry, it's Thursday. I'm on the wrong day
No, for
of
the
week.
weekend.
I feel like Annabelle. I'm crushed. I just realized it's not the end of the week.
It's been the longest freaking week.
I'm just not gonna lie to you.
It's that time.
All right, for the rest of the period, you need your orange reference tables. Yeah, they're up there.
We need a periodic table.
No, you don't need a periodic table. Well, yes, you will. Because most of you probably don't have it memorized, so you're going to need it. Who needs one?
It's not money.
I don't have a periodic table.
Who needed a periodic table? You want to fake?
I could like so crash in that round. What are we getting out?
You'd probably be safe. I'm fairly certain your friends would wake you.
What are we getting out?
Your reference table and a periodic table. New stuff.
But anyways, you know, let's consider
Let's go. Is there something new?
Yep.
It's crazy.
I like you. I'm so tired of those. Sorry.
I think it's crazy.
All right, so we're going to stop with what we were on. We're done with equilibrium, done with thermodynamics, other than taking our quiz. What? I've actually been kicking around about a 35 question test for early next week.
We need that next part because I don't remember half of them.
Don't worry, I have 2 practice tests that we're going to take.
Oh no, we need just a benchmark.
So,
Is this a whole nother unit?
No ma'am.
This is another unit.
whole nother unit.
She had to get us that new book. That's how you know it's another unit. It's that bullshit.
I think it's a smaller book.
It's one they talk about.
The good news is this is the last one.
I could be sick.
Praise.
Huh?
What's that to do with it?
I need to cheat. I don't want to think hard. Where is my precipitation stuff? So I don't have to think. And create the equations. There they are. There they are. All right. So the lab I want to do. Probably on Monday. Oh. Okay. So the lab I want to do on Monday. What? I already told you didn't have a lab report. Why else are you getting all bent out of shape? There is one I'd really like to do a lab report for. I just can't figure out where to fit it in at.
Please, anywhere.
What?
Yeah, like, are you retiring earlier, like, in San Diego?
Why would you?
I don't know.
You took some Xannies.
I wish somebody gave me some Xanax. I really think something period. I might take two. You know, because a lot of fire drill, the lockdown was 4 periods enough to make me a little nuts.
Huh? Sometime today. Yeah, it's not seconds. So, whew, where's that leave it?
Dang, that is guys.
I didn't say that.
Miss White
Process of elimination.
Miss White told us we're gonna have it anyway.
We're gonna have it, but you know we don't ever do things third.
Look,
So
I think that Lasia needs to carry that around.
Yes, crisis information queen over here.
She can do it with the bomb
She can do it with the bomb thread.
I'm the bomb thread.
all right, so moving on to solubility. So if we have our orange reference tables out, the only chart on our orange reference tables we have not learned to read is this one. Okay?
Where did we learn these? Oh.
I said the only one we have not learned to read over there is this one.
That's crazy.
Okay? Everything else on the reference table we've learned to read. Madison Hush. Hey, Ms. Bowers.
Miss
Did
Ballard,
you read your email?
did you read your email?
I might have to kill myself right along with you. Can we get group rates? Huh? Then Denora? JD?
It's just out of pocket.
Okay. You say so. Alright. So looking at the solubility rules. Okay? So solubility. Moving on. Somewhere back in your previous science background, maybe, somebody, I hope, said something to you about solubility.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? It's basically
It's like a sponge.
And we're gonna sleep so you can leave
to dissolve.
Are you in depression?
Okay? It's the ability to dissolve. Now, it could dissolve in anything, and we'll talk about that later next week. However, for today, we're going to limit ourselves. Okay?
to nothing.
No, largely water. All right? So, hopefully, someone used the terms solute and solvent in your science background. Solute being the material that is dissolved, and the solvent being the material that does the dissolving. Okay? So, is dissolved, does the dissolving. The easiest ways to talk about solubility, of course, is always water, because that's what we're most familiar with. Now, for today, like I said, we're going to limit ourselves largely to water. Next week, we'll branch out. Yes. Other types of solvents. We'll talk polar, non-polar, solute, and solvents next week. Okay? But today, we're going to learn how to read a solubility chart and determine what is soluble and what is not soluble. Okay? Huh? Okay. I'm just raising it up a little bit. So, things that are soluble, we will label as aqueous, because that means they dissolve in water. Now, the flip side of that for us today will be insoluble. That's right. So they're going to be solids. Now, I said this yesterday in passing, and I said that we're going to learn to put all the states in on the reactions. So when we do our lab, most likely Monday, that you're going to have to write in the states on all these reactions.
Wait, quick question.
Yes.
So, some sugar is a solid.
Sugar itself is a solid. When it dissolves, it doesn't make ions though. So sugar itself is not going to make ions. There's a different way we write that. Okay? Everybody caught up? Do I need to wait? Or are you just going to stand there and take it?
Yes, sir.
If you can get Annabelle to give you the stool, you can sit here and pretend you're Tiandre.
There's a roller chair.
That may not be the best idea.
What? I can't hear Raquel. What? Getting there. That's next on the list of to-dos. All right. Everybody caught up?
Yes.
All right. So, to answer Raquel's question, she wants to know how we're going to know what's soluble and what's insoluble. So, before you have a lovely solubility table. Yes, you do. So, we need to learn how to read the solubility table. Now, do not write on your orange papers. I know. Or you won't be able to use it. You have to get one from me. Okay? I'm going to write on it just to mark it up and explain. Don't write on yours. Now, you can write this in your notes if you want to. You read the table by looking for the anion. What is the anion again? Anybody remember? I used that vocabulary word in the exam. The negative ion. Okay?
By looking
For the anion.
that's in the equation that you're using.
Yep. The exceptions.
So just write this in our notes.
Are written in the table, yes.
The exceptions are the cations. What are the cations again? They're the positive ions. So, some of these you will notice say except blah, blah, blah. So, the exceptions are always going to be our cations. The rules are described based on the anions. Now, most of the anions are either going to be found based on the names we learned because they're in groups on the periodic table, or they're polyatomic ions. Now, you cannot have your oxidation sheet anymore. But if I borrow Annabelle's, you see that phone out here? I'm going to well, if you look at solubility table, polyatomic ions. Solubility, polyatomic ions. I will limit myself to these polyatomic ions as will the state. Okay? Now, if it says something like bromide or chloride, you find those where? Say it, Destiny. On the periodic table. Bromide is in group 17, and you just have to look that up and find its oxidation number up there if you need it. Group 17 would have what oxidation number? That's right, it's outer shell. So it'd be -1. Okay? Are we okay on the difference between outer shell and oxidation numbers, or do we need to review that?
Review.
Just review real quick.
How does one find
Out of shell is what? What does that do anyway?
-1.
Because some people confuse the two and use the wrong number.
-3.
I didn't know that was a difference.
All right, so we learned outer shell electrons are 1, 2, 3, 4,
Wait, what?
5, 6, 7, and 8, right? Now,
Oh.
we don't need the transition
I was
elements.
like, wait a second.
All right, oxidation numbers. What's the oxidation number for group 1? Group 2? Group 13? Group 14?
Plus or minus 4.
Group 15, group 16, 17, 18. There's 2 transition elements you got to know. What are the 2?
Zinc, silver, and aluminum.
Well, aluminum is over here in group 13.
Silver is 1.
All right, so aluminum is +3. The reason you have to know aluminum is +3 is it will not get a Roman number when you write it down. Okay? Now, those are the oxidation numbers that you should be able to find using the periodic table. Everybody good with those? Yeah. It's coming back to you.
No, not really, but.
The outer shell is in blue. The oxidation numbers are in green.
Right.
Okay. So, if we want to find solubility, let's say that we have NaNO3. And we want to determine its solubility. Okay? Want to know its solubility. What is it? Okay? So, you have to find the anion. Well, what is the anion in that compound? Okay? Na is the what?
The cat.
This is the cation. This would be the anion. Don't leave here saying cation. People will think you didn't learn anything. All right? Yes. Sure. All right. So the anion is NO3. If you know its name, we can read the rules. If you don't know its name, this is why I said it's a simple matter of flipping the table. So flip it to this side, look up NO3, and find its name. What is NO3's name?
Nitrate.
Nitrate. So now check your rules. Find the rule that has nitrates listed. Which one?
All nitrates.
All nitrates. Okay? Now, this one does not have an exception. Does not say except anybody up here.
Right.
It says all nitrates are what?
Soluble.
Are soluble. All nitrates are soluble. So right here we write what?
AQ.
AQ. Okay? It's that simple. Now, all right, so MgF2. All right, what's our our anion?
MG.
Our anion? I corrected myself. I said anion.
It's that first.
Anion is always where? The second one. So it's what? F, fluoride. The rules are written as the anions. So you're looking up fluoride. All right, so find the fluoride rule. All right, so all fluorides are what? All right, so we would say that this is soluble. Now, except, so we might have to change that AQ to a solid if this has the exception. So now we have to read that except part. Except group 2,
Wow.
lead 2, and iron 3. Is this one of those exceptions?
Yes.
If it's an exception, we change that from what it said into a solid. Okay? Because it's the exception, it has to be changed. If it had not been the exception, we would have left it alone.
Wait, what do you mean?
All the fluorides are soluble,
But the
except if they're in group 2. Magnesium is where? Group 2. So if it's a group 2 fluoride, it's not what? It's not soluble. It's a solid. Are you with me? Okay. Now,
No.
yes, I'm here to do.
The CO3 is the one
Now, ladies, I don't think my chair is helping you, dear.
Sorry.
Just saying.
I thought you didn't want
You
to
can lay in your desk and sleep.
Yeah, I thought you
I don't know how she could like with you because you're like loud.
I am loud.
I do it all the time.
Like I can't imagine you waking up your kids. I'd lock my door. I'd be like, she's not waking me up. Because
I have a
hear you
son who
like
does it
that.
every day. I use the little key, turn the lock, go in. I usually shake his feet, shake the bed
Yeah.
every day. Still,
Does he get up?
not for about 10 minutes. I usually have to go back twice.
Yeah, that's so annoying.
My mom
Like,
was
you don't get up
once. If
and
I
you
wake up, that's on me.
That was a
My mom
power
doesn't
nap.
wake me
I
up.
don't want to wake me up.
That's a power nap.
If I
We've set alarms. We've done
I like
everything we know to do.
and I don't snooze.
I'm thinking about a cowbell for next year.
I hear her leave.
Big
I'm
bell.
like, she does not care.
I don't think it works.
And then she's mad at me.
Cattle prod might work, but I'm pretty
I
wet
woke up and
bed.
I got to but you had the responsibility to like bang on my door.
Hi, what'd you come up with?
We have
What is the carbonate? Twos cancel out.
And so I can't say it.
What'd you find out about a carbonate? Alright? Carbonates are what? All carbonates are insoluble, so a solid. Alright? Except group 1 and ammonium. Is calcium in group 1 or is it ammonium?
No.
So it stays a solid. It's not one of the exceptions, so it does not change as time. It stays a solid.
Okay, this makes sense. You just have to read it.
No.
Yes, you do. It's like reading comprehension.
So basically, this ain't no table. They're just giving you notes.
Right. Okay? You have to know how to read the table. Now, if we can't read the table, we cannot do this, and your lab will be terrible. Okay?
Why can't you read the table? It's just common English.
Well, I think that every year, and some days I'm quite astounded by what happens. Okay? All right, so let's try some. Let's say that I give y'all.
We were talking about non-spontaneous and spontaneous. You said something non-spontaneous. I heard myself say, I'm spontaneous. And Blake really just picture.
Very sorry.
Do my hands. Like you don't hear yelling. Why? Because you can't. They can't hear you.
I mean,
That's another issue, Paul. We'd rather do number one.
Right. All right, there, I'll stop there.
Jeez.
Find out if they're soluble or insoluble.
I already know the last one.
Unnecessary.
What, I already do that one?
No.
Okay.
Oh, dang it.
Do I have road rage?
Yeah.
Not usually too bad.
Really?
Yeah.
You know how like people are like, why are you yelling? They can't hear you. I'm sure they hear you.
They just hear this in, like behind them. That would be like,
No, I'm not too bad. My daughter and my husband are much worse than I am.
Shelby?
Yeah, she's
Wait,
bad.
Shelby?
Oh,
She's bad.
I just tell them I.
She said, sweet Shelby.
No, I hate when my little nieces are trying to sing the back seat. I'm like,
why do you need your chair back?
they be mumbling. I'm not even listening.
That's the table I'm looking for.
I hear people out there, I listen to them, my whole spirit, like,
Like, shut up.
Sandy, can you help me?
how come I can't find some of these other
How do you?
What is I said?
I was paying attention to my eyes. And I'm like,
And she missed most of it because she's asleep. As John Drew would say, she sleeps sleep.
This
a wall?
I'm Dennis. Great.
Miss Wall,
Yes.
anything that is soluble is AG.
Everything, anything insoluble is AQ, not AG. AQ.
My,
Can you do me a favor?
What?
Can you say period?
Period?
Like, say period.
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 Like with the
Say-
attitude.
And then you gotta go like
Then you
this.
gotta say with the attitude, Miss Love.
like when somebody doesn't understand.
Miss Love?
Yeah.
Miss Love did it. She was like, period. Miss Wall.
No.
Point blank.
No, period. We're going to tell Shelby to tell you to do it, and she can record you.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to tell Shelby.
Move it.
Get a video of all of this.
Y'all got my answers?
No.
Yeah.
Girl, I'm struggling.
Like, I like all the like.
I'm gonna skip that congratulations.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna type it in the video there.
About what? What are you confused by?
It says all hydroxide instead of group wood.
All hydroxide
Got
are
the
what?
ones I know.
I know.
It's a solid, unless it's in group one. If it's in group one, it makes
No,
it
you
a.
do.
Soluble.
Makes it a.
12.
Together.
What?
One person each go up to the board and do one.
Yes, go ahead, bro.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Who wants to do one?
Now let's just go do one. So
Let's
she can
do
do
it.
Annabelle.
No, sweetie, no. No,
What?
do the little parentheses.
What's
Why do you
that?
put a giant box?
Oh, I was just like separating the thing from the thing.
No, you did.
I thought I was
Aqueous up there.
All right, you gotta put little parentheses, first of all. All right, so. Put my 3 back. And you need parentheses behind each of these.
Okay, well, why didn't you do that first?
Because I thought after we did enough of these, y'all would get the idea that there're gonna be little
I
parentheses
thought,
there.
okay, so that,
All right, so, yes, like that.
and then it's soluble.
It's, so the AQ means soluble, you
So
don't have to
I'm
write
doing anything
soluble.
else?
No. Put it on the desk, that's why I don't hang it there.
Look,
That is a bar, it has to be on that side of the bar. There's a little line there that's not magnetic, it has to be on one side or the other. All right, who's doing the next one?
question.
What?
Me.
All nitrates are soluble.
What does that say?
It says AQ, not well, but it says AQ. All nitrates are soluble. Okay, there are no exceptions to nitrates. All nitrates are soluble, which is why it's AQ.
I want to do one.
Is it?
Dang it, that's so.
No.
All iodides are soluble except lead, mercury, and silver. So yes, that is AQ.
Oh, okay.
That's correct.
That's what I was going to do. Whatever.
Too bad for CAI2.
That's not the easiest one for me.
Go back. All chlorides are soluble except silver, lead, and mercury. What's on the front of it? So is that lead?
Does this erase?
Yep. Now, the one that Joyce just did said all chlorides are soluble except silver, lead, and mercury. So since the exception said PB, what does she need to do? She had to switch it from AQ to S. Okay, that's right.
Okay. I'll come do another one. I'll prove myself right.
So what? No, these will either be aqueous or solids. None of these are going to be gases. The only things that are going to be gases are what?
The gas.
The gases that were weighed.
The noble gas.
The 6 noble gases and the other 5 elements that we colored in as gases. So what are the other 5 elements that are gases? Hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, and chlorine. There's 5 other than the noble gases. There are 11 gases that you guys are supposed to know. Those are the only things that will be gases. What are the 2 liquids? Bromine and mercury. Now, you're supposed to know water's a liquid, But by far, those are the only things that y'all are supposed to know are liquids, okay? Unless I tell you something is a liquid. The state would expect the same. All right, who's doing another one up there?
I go.
Go, Linda, go.
Hey, Patricia.
Put me up there.
It's all carbonates and sauce. Group 1 and I did that one.
So I'm gonna just look at a bunch of.
All right, all sulfates are what? How's it listed on your sheet?
They are.
All sulfates are soluble, except, all right, it says except barium. All right, so BaSO4.
Is that right?
It's not. It's what? Because it says the process. It says that insoluble thing, right?
I don't get this.
Because BA is very high.
Okay, come here.
And I'm not comprehending.
All right, so it says all carbonates are what?
Insoluble.
So you're gonna put what?
AQ.
No, that's where you're going wrong.
Oh, that's a
Insolid,
solid.
yes. That's what you've got wrong in your head.
Yes, I do. I have it wrong.
Okay?
When I think S, I think
Think solid.
I don't.
Okay. Okay?
I know woods, I just think the wrong thing.
Yes. So write S. All right. Now, some of you probably have the same problem Joyce has.
Like, why would you do that? That's so annoying.
What?
It's like soluble S, but it's
Look, dude, I'm not in charge, okay? When you look at this, it is easy to do exactly what Joyce did. She looks at soluble, and what letter does she think soluble ought to be? S. Soluble is AQ. Insoluble is the one that is S. So in her head, she has the right answer, but she has S attached to soluble. Soluble in your head has to be AQ. So even if you're processing it right, if you write the wrong letter, you get the wrong answer. Okay? You lose points for it. Okay? So somehow in your head, you have to remember that when you say insoluble, you have to write solid. Okay? Because Joyce explained it beautifully. And then she turned around and wrote the wrong answer because in her head, solid was the soluble.
I get you.
Okay.
It's okay.
Joyce, it's okay.
Because that's what I do.
Okay?
It's not on YouTube.
So, keep it in mind. So, all of these fell in the exception category. I got 2 left.
I'm gonna do one. Is this what I'm gonna do one?
Yes.
Wait, Miss Wall, what is, oh, wait.
Dang it.
Okay.
Hurry up.
I'm sorry.
Does that mean so?
Can I change the color?
Okay. Just touch something, put it up there. Come on.
I want to change it.
It's a pretty color.
Oh.
You actually kind of got a point.
Okay. All right, last one.
Me, I'm doing.
For what?
I'm so excited for those concerts. I'm like, y'all don't even know.
All right. Questions about anything that's up there?
I'm actually kind
Kind of okay on that?
You know,
Alright.
she said we could code.
Alright.
So I see your stuff.
right, you said?
I was like, are you going to be the coding with you?
I'm
Alright.
because I was seeing fries in a
No.
What are you getting?
Cheese and fries. Sure.
Okay, but from where?
Alright. Let's talk dissociation. Dissociation is what leads us into precipitation for tomorrow in the lab on Monday. Okay?
Hold on. Start a new little section.
Now, at this point, I hope we can read the chart. If you can't, we'll try to practice it some more in the opening tomorrow.
All right.
I want B here.
That, oh, I spelled that.
I'm so sorry. Watch the video and get caught up. Now, and somebody remind me to post it. All right, so dissociation, all right, is when a soluble compound, y'all stop talking while I am, breaks into ions. All right, this process happens on its own. We can't stop it. Okay? It just happens. So, we need to learn how to write the equations because these equations happen in precipitation, and we're going to use them to write precipitation equations tomorrow.
So we're gonna be balancing again.
Yes, we are.
Wait.
I hate balancing.
These, I think, are easier to balance.
It's not gonna hit him because it just takes time, and like I don't have the time to be like, okay, so these two will make things.
I think these are easier to balance, Faith.
What? Okay, so.
All right, so, for example, if we put NaCl, which is a solid, into water, what do we all know is going to happen when we put this into water?
Dissolve.
It's going to dissolve, okay? And I'll just write the H2 on the arrow. Now, if we put NaCl in water, we all know it's going to dissolve. Now, the correct word for this is it will dissociate. Okay? Now, we can say dissolve all day long. All right? The correct word is it will dissociate. What will it dissociate into?
Ions.
It's ions. So what do ions make up NaCl? Okay. Everybody knows that. So how do we show them as ions? What do we do to show them as ions? All right. How do we show them as positive and negative? What do we need to put on them? The oxidation numbers. So what is Na's oxidation number? All right. So +1, chlorine. All right. So you have to include the oxidation numbers. All right. We need one more thing.
A dot diagram.
Isn't what?
Oh, it's a scale diatomic.
It started as a solid.
You write some crazy symbol. Put parentheses right
Why don't you do the what Kevin said, the
Bracket.
Yeah, it started as a solid. You could write it as AQ or an S. That's why I put the H2 on top of the arrow to show that we were putting it in water. So it started as a solid, Madison. Okay? So it's like you got it out of the salt shaker, right? And it starts as what? State. Solid. So I put H2O on top of the arrow to show we're putting it in the water. Okay? So it's not dissolved yet. Okay.
hoping you knew what I did, but
So what?
I was hoping you pulled a Joyce, but
No. It is soluble, so it will dissolve in the water. Okay? I'm just saying it's still in the solid state currently. Okay? Now, we need to do one other thing. The what? Yes, we need to include the states. All right. Now, based on what you and Madison just told me, what states are we going to include? Joyce, what did you and Madison just tell me? So what states am I going to include? Very good.
Yay. Not F.
Okay? Now,
I don't care how much chemists get paid, you would not catch me being one.
it's okay. They probably don't want you. All right. All
Tell her to be whatever she wants to be.
ions are
Anything.
aqueous. And don't feel bad because no English teacher would want me.
Wait, what do you want to be?
yeah.
Like, what
Alright. All ions are aqueous.
We got a little wash your face.
Wait, got a little.
Right? All ions are aqueous. So once you turn them into ions, they will be aqueous. Everything that dissolves, everything that's soluble will be aqueous when they dissociate. Now, if they don't dissociate, will they make ions? No. No. Now, there's one other step just for faith. Balance if necessary. Okay? In this particular case, did I need to balance? No, because there's one Na on both sides, one chlorine on each side. Okay? Now, to illustrate the difference in the reaction and the way it can be written, everybody got it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Suppose we have, let's not use chlorine this time. Let's use,
Put them up.
let's use magnesium nitrate.
Disgusting. I hope that's the soul of myself. Everyone.
I just took them out again.
What if? I can smell it. Shut up, they can't. Again, they
It's pretty bad.
It smells like
It's called Diffusion.
It's a flip powder or something. Now, what kind of shoes do you have to wear at Chick-fil-A?
Not slip.
Oh, so you can wear those, just not non-slip?
No, we have to have.
That could be black.
We
Oh,
have to
okay.
have them, but do I wear them?
Oh, black.
No.
Okay, we
All
have to.
I wore Converse
Always.
I was wearing Converse. So like, oh, I don't know. You buy them. And they were all black, and they were fine. Like, you allowed me to wear them.
But she was about to die.
I was.
She was slipping on ice.
This was this black straw, and I went that night to Walmart. I was walking with ice cream, and I literally just went like this.
Anyway, put your
And
shoes
fell
on.
back. It was bad.
It was so funny because I just kept catching her falling. Like, you all right, bro?
Like, I have to hold on to the kitchen poles, and I go around corners and stuff like this.
All right, so this time I wrote it the other way. All right, instead of drawing an arrow and putting water on the top, I wrote it as AQ. You can get it in either variety. All right, so this compound is soluble, right? Dissociate. What does it dissociate into?
MG and NO3.
Okay, Mg and NO3. How do we show it as ions? What's Mg's oxidation number?
7.
Huh?
That's not sorry.
I know you dozed off for a few minutes, but you weren't asleep that long. So plus 2.
I thought that was magnesium.
Manganese. Okay.
Yeah.
Nitrate is -1. What states?
Solid.
All ions are aqueous.
I said it.
Aqueous.
Right. What is how is
Because
that?
it's already dissolved.
So it's already
Soluble. Anything that's soluble stays soluble.
So the
It doesn't
only thing that's
change.
gonna change is your reaction.
Okay? Now, for faith, is it balanced?
No.
What's not balanced?
The NO3.
How many NO3s are here?
2.
So what am I going to do here?
2.
Okay. That's as hard as the balance it gets, Faith.
That better be as hard
It better be as hard as it gets.
Yeah, because
Why?
I struggle with stuff because it's
You've done much harder than that. That should not be
took me
hard.
15 minutes to balance out one.
Really?
Yes. I don't know basic math.
That I believe. Okay. Yeah. All right. Dissociate these for me. Let's do let me make sure I pick something.
I'm just like, you're my teacher for a whole semester.
She's playing this. I'm gonna tell if you do it, fly right back.
Ooh, use that.
That's a mess that I just erased.
It's like they can't catch me slipping.
Sounds more mean. Just.
No, it's
All right, dissociate those. Those two.
I'm sorry. Wait, actually, I don't think I can.
You should be able to.
I know, but like.
You can do this, Annabelle.
I don't know how to
You
say
better say you can't. Why don't you go with the assumption you can?
Sound like my dad. He's like, you can make a B. He says you can make a B in pre-calc. It's not like you're stupid.
First of all,
That's not the word he used, but I'm not gonna say it.
he didn't say that.
No.
What did he not? What did he say? Oh.
Yeah, of course.
You know, yeah.
So I didn't.
You were all like, oh. This is what I got. Oh,
Come in
just
there and
two.
try.
Shut up. That's how my parents know, like, you never spend time.
One. Negative one. Yeah.
Does NA3 have to have that?
Can I take it on the board?
If you haven't done it, you can show it.
Can I
Let me
go
see
on
what
the
you have.
board?
Oh, I did it in my head.
I don't want to see it in your head. I want to see it on paper. And if it's right on paper, I'll let you write it on the board.
It's not gonna be right.
Huh?
We'll see it.
No.
So did y'all just refresh?
So, sort of like
I'm tired of being bullied.
Yeah. So you're just breaking the
This is
concept.
being
Now, while we're doing this,
Y'all bullying me.
are any of the ions diatomic when they go over and they break apart? Do you have anything that's diatomic as an ion? No. They are not diatomic as ions. Because as an ion, you have 8 electrons in their outer shell. So they don't have to bond to anybody, you get 8 electrons.
So we don't think that.
No.
I don't think I did right.
So it's just BCA. I think so. Well, they're big trouble.
No. It's gonna be something.
It's like cheese.
What?
Basically,
Oh no, Annabelle. Oh no. Oh no.
they said that he bonded little boys and stuff when he was in high school with that person.
It's like,
Where it belongs. In the trash.
What did you throw in the trash?
No, because that was his best friend, Tati.
Annabelle, really?
Best friend and stuff. And he got
They're making
got
fun of me.
advertised was like.
You don't wear socks in those things. That makes it smell bad.
Because
Get this
he said my best friend, you shouldn't be like doing that with other people. I'm still finish right.
whoa!
And she just started going on. And then she starts going on the teacher.
It's for what?
Then she
Already watched it all over the county. I had one. I don't know where it is.
later trying to tell
I'm gonna see somebody. Is it weird?
Yeah.
I think.
Yes.
Faith,
So far, Miss Bola, can you check my board? So I can go on the board.
are you doing one on the board or not?
No, if I didn't do it right, I have no idea.
All right, Faith, put it on the board.
Do it at 5.
Faith, go.
Oh, you gonna be a lunchbox?
You should
You should
go.
go.
How to do the second one.
Yep, first was right. Put it up there.
I think I know. Okay. You're actually hands in her.
Alright.
No, it's fine.
She was thinking to your lunchbox.
I meant so. Wait, Miss Mom, say you do the second one. Okay, I had that part right. 14 is plus 1.
States.
Oh yeah, you're so smart. I knew that.
We are. When I put this for that one.
What are you talking about, all ions? Let's stay with all ions. It's an ion.
Gas.
I'm smart. Education.
Oh, what she do? She down.
You gotta do that too. It's not special.
Hey, don't get beat up with Christian.
With the what? What five?
Yeah.
There's no five.
I had that.
Oh,
I didn't know what to do.
you.
That's an F.
Oh.
Fuzzy.
Gonna carry it, girl.
5 points.
Shut up.
Nah, but
Oxidation number. Finish the formula on PO.
Huh?
On PO, what's the rest of the formula?
Put eggplant right there.
Formula.
The four at the bottom.
I didn't know.
Don't let Joyce do that.
I heard you.
Alright, questions? We feel okay about that? Alright, let's talk homework.
Let's talk money.
Alright, quiz tomorrow. Equilibrium. I thought today was Friday. Since today is Thursday, the quiz is on Friday. But you passed that. I thought it was Friday.
Stop playing with me. So really
Then you have to make it up.
No, let's
Why are there more shoes over here? What are you people not getting your shoes on?
You go put your shoes on.
So are you saying
I sure
So want to bring that to school? Right. Keep it out for a minute. Don't put it up. Sorry to play something.
Hey, where's my shoes?
On your desk.
You don't come off my floor.
There's one for Faith and Annabelle. Alright, if you look at the paper real quick. Because every year I have about 4 people who do this wrong if I check homework. And then they get mad when I will not accept their homework and I give them half credit. It is not multiple choice. Okay? And people go through, because they haven't done it, they haven't read it, and real quick they circle answers and they go, I got homework this fall. It is not multiple choice.
Why not?
Okay? Might be. Okay? Each question is a separate question.
Period.
Alright? It's practice for the quiz.
Say period.
No. Alright?
No. You got like different math words.
I don't need to be mocked to the second period. I already mocked to 34. Alright. Yes! It's all up front!
So, period. Period. Well, say period, poo.
George does not stop saying Benjamin Newton. Get my calculators up there if you have one.